Okay. Hello, Patriot.
Hey, everybody out there at Freedom Corner and around the world. It is Dominic Fox calling in again from cell number 1 here. Thankfully back in C3A, the Patriot Pod. And, it's great to talk to you guys again.
Hey, Dominic. You as well, brother. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing really good, and I know, so much better than I was just a couple of weeks ago. But I wanted to hop on tonight because, from what I'm sure you guys have already heard, and for anybody just tuning in, I'll kind of recap. We were told today, despite our rec situation already being interrupted, meaning we're not getting the standard Monday through Friday like it's listed on our schedule that we're supposed to for whether it be indoor or outdoor rec. We were told today that for the first time in over 3 years, in order for us to go to recreation, which is the only chance, the only time that the men and the women that are, in their pod are allowed out of our unit, be it in the gym or in the significantly rare chance of ever going outside, if we want to do that, we have to rec with one of the other units here in the jail. And I've actually got a little bit of experience with that unit because some of you guys know I spent 69 days in solitary confinement, which was, a crazy experience in and of itself. If you're interested, check out my GiveSendGo. It's givesendgo.com/freedomj6. I wrote all about it. Got some interesting, some funny, some scary stories. But ultimately, after that time in solitary, before I was brought back into the unit, I spent about a week and a half on the unit that they want us to rec with. It's called Special Management Unit Alpha, SMUA. And I'm going to go ahead and if the guys before me didn't do it, we're really putting out a call to action tonight to say, call who you know to call. Call who, I've been here for, about a year now. But one of the ways that I know we've been able to enjoy some of the, not luxury, but relative, relaxation and peace and tranquility in this unit is when we all stood together. And when we all, utilize the resources of you guys there at Freedom Corner, those of you out there listening to this right now, and calling in and saying, hey, here's this injustice, here's this travesty happening, whether it's not getting visits, not getting access to hair clippers, being locked in isolation. But ultimately right now I want to talk to you guys about what that means if your friends and family members were to be wrecking with the individuals on Special Management Unit Alpha. What does that actually mean? Now, I can tell you right now, myself, the guys you just heard, and many of the men in here, if not all of them, we're not scared to wreck with anybody. It's not a matter of, oh my God, we're separate, we're special, we don't want to be around anybody, because myself included, and along with everybody that didn't come here straight from court, if you got any of that diesel therapy, be it on Con Air to Oklahoma, or in my case, a bus trip all over the state of Florida up to Atlanta, Butner, Petersburg, and then here, you're in general population in these different federal facilities. But since we've come to D.C., we're in a unit and isolated by ourselves. The unit that they want us to rec with, Special Management Unit Alpha, is not full of just your regular carjackers and, standard street thieves. These are murderous snitches. 8 guys on that unit, 8 guys that I know of, have murder charges. 3 other guys in there have serious sexual offenses. 2 of the guys in there are J6 detainees that for a multitude of reasons are not welcome back in the pod. I don't want to, get into all of that. And then there's, one of the guys over there is hopefully coming back. And I don't mean to say that every guy down there is a bad person or, somebody that I, have a negative feelings about, because I honestly, in the week and a half that I was there were 2 or 3 people that I was able to do a Bible study with. It was very impactful. And no matter what you're accused of, everybody deserves their day in court. Also, there's another guy named Sai Kandula who's down there that I think is a very misrepresented and misunderstood young man who got himself into a sticky situation. But I don't want to get into all of that. But ultimately, the bigger issue is I have never, ever experienced the outright hostility, not even when I was in the hole, that I did when I was on Special Management Unit Alpha. I happened to be there the day that President Trump, in that ridiculous show trial in New York, was found guilty of his 34 charges. And the way that I was repaid, when I was outside, my door was popped and all of my commissary was stolen. That happened to 2 other January 6ers that were in there as well. The other issue that I have with this place is, of those 8 murderers that I told you about that are down there, every single one of them has what is called here either a Drake or a Draco. You may know it as a bone crusher. To those of you out there that aren't familiar with jail terminology, these are knives. These are prison shanks. We're not talking about little Swiss Army knives. I'm talking about 8 to 12-inch pieces of metal that's cut out from either the door or their beds. They're sharpened into a point, and even though many of you out there never hear about it, death happens in this facility all the time. One of the many ways that people die in this facility is through being stabbed. Not once. There's a guy that's in there right now who was stabbed 13 times. And what's crazy is every time that we leave to go to rec from this unit, we're fully patted down. Sometimes by male officers, sometimes by female officers. I don't know if that's even the way it's supposed to be, but the point is we're always patted down. When I was on SMUA, I was never patted down. And I don't want to get too far into the details, but there was an issue after, so my stuff got stolen, 2 other guys had their stuff stolen, and then one of the other inmates who happened to be from the DC area found out who it was that was doing the thievery and confronted that individual, had a knife pulled on him. That guy was stabbed, and instead of removing the guy who was doing the stabbing and getting the knife off the unit, the guy who got stabbed was taken off the unit. Why is that? Because some of these inmates are so notorious because of their proclivity for snitching on other gang members and just outright violence. They cannot even go to the hole. They cannot go to the hole. So the jail is trapped in this weird situation where they have to keep them away from all the other inmates, and they just keep them around each other. That's who the jail wants us to wreck with. And again, I'm not scared to wreck with anybody. I was around these guys, and other than having my stuff stolen when I was outside eating lunch, and we're all men. We can fend for ourselves. The question I have is why? Why after 3 years are we being forced into this situation where we couldn't? Some of you guys may remember, myself, James Grant, some of the other guys, we wanted to play in the March Madness basketball tournament, and they said no. Right? You guys remember that?
Right.
Sure do.
And they said it was a security issue. So why now? Why after? I have my own opinions. I think, and I completely disagree with the individuals who, both of whom I know that there may be more that are releasing videos from inside the pod when there was a clear understanding that if people were willing to participate in the creation of those videos, or some of just the B-roll, the standard footage from other stuff, but that stuff wouldn't be released until after the election, if not significantly after that. Unfortunately, the footage, for whatever reason, that people are wanting to fundraise or just generate some internet clout, they've decided to go back on their word, turn their back on their brothers here in the pod and release videos. Well, that has consequences. We've been talked to by multiple guards who have never given us any problems. They come up now and say really sly stuff about, well, I'm not being recorded right now, am I? And just, they've created an air of suspicion where even the inmates in the pod that come, in the jail that come, that are cleaning the unit, that are bringing food and different stuff, they're saying stuff to us about it. So it's well known. I find it's not a coincidence that right now, after those videos are coming out, that we're being asked to wreck with the very people they told us we couldn't wreck with not even, 3 months ago because it was a security risk. And so I would call on anybody out there, we're standing in solidarity. We've decided as a unit, hashtag rectify the wreck. We're not going to put ourselves in a situation where, to me, I know these guys down there. They are the type who, again, because of their security status and because of the things they're engaged in, cannot even go to the hole. So what's going to happen? You've got people who are openly anti-Trump, and I hate to say it, openly anti-white, who can be egged on to say, hey, let's go cause a fight, because stuff happens. I know it sounds crazy, but there just are. There are dirty cops, there are dirty officials, and I have no question in my mind, and I'm not going to do it, but I can tell you off the top of my head, I know exactly the people that they would put up to it and say, hey, here's a couple extra pieces of commissary, go throw a dirty check on James Grant, go body up against Dempsey, provoke them into a fight, and then those guys will get thrown in the hole. Because the guys that are in SMUA can't go anywhere else, even though they've been caught stabbing people, been caught with weapons, been caught with drugs. Because of their situation, they can't go anywhere else. and I'm sorry, I don't mean to get, I didn't mean to get so heated, but it's just, it's mind-boggling to me because I was one of those people that wanted to play basketball with the rest of the guys before. We're not scared to wreck with anybody, but if there's smoke, there's fire, and there's a reason they're asking us to wreck with other people right now. And these guys are killers and sex offenders, 98% of them down there.
Well, I think you're absolutely right, Dominic. You know, just like what happened to you guys 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, you are definitely being set up, and it is exactly by this jail so that they can prove how violent our J6ers are. This is absolutely atrocious, and you better believe that our patriots are going to start making some phone calls and demand some answers, and also demand that you guys that are supposed to be in protective custody not be put at risk.
Yeah, and I encourage that absolutely, guys. There's, you know, this is one of those things that I talk about all the time. We may be the ones that are in jail, but we're all in this. We're all in this together. So you can write us letters. You can put money on our commissary. You can donate to our Give, Send, Go. All that stuff's important. But right now, it's a very tangible way that whether you're in Ohio, whether you're in Pennsylvania, Florida, Texas, Connecticut, wherever you're at, if you want to step up, if you want to help be the tip of the spear and affect change for your J6 Patriot family, this is what you need to do, because we as a collective unit, we don't get to go outside enough as it is. We don't get enough recreation as it is. There are standards that are set by the U.S. Marshals and this jail alone that are routinely flouted for whatever reason. And right now, again, I have no doubt that the men in here could handle ourselves in a physical confrontation, but it should never come to that, because what they're going to do is use this as an excuse to say, oh, these, you know the names they call us. I'm not even going to gratify them by saying the things they call us. They're trying to provoke a fight, and you've got willing participants down there that would do anything. And I again, you know, to the men down there, they're not going to listen to this, but there are not all the people that are down there are bad people, so I'm not trying to say that. But the overwhelming majority of them, I mean, they were literally, I can't even say this on the phone. They were literally sharing information on the best way to rob pharmacies, to carjack, and how to commit murder and get away with it. These are not jokes. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not joking. That is a school of just of criminality, and just, I mean, I was shocked. I said, this is supposed to be the protective custody unit in the correctional treatment facility? I saw more knives down there than I did in the hole, because these guys have this air and openly cursing at the guards, telling them what to do, touching on, I mean, it's really crazy, and these are the guys who literally can't go anywhere else. So, you know, I would say call the jail, call the U.S. Marshals, send emails, do whatever you can, get this out, because we want to go outside, we want to go back to rec, and all we're asking is to have it be the same way that it was for the last 3+ years. We can rec fine by ourselves. There's enough of us where we don't need to, you know, I'm honestly, they claim there's a shortage of staff. What are you going to do when there's a full-blown riot and you have two guards? There's not enough mace and bear spray in the world to shut that down. People are going to get hurt if this isn't rectified.
Absolutely, 100%.
All right, guys. Well, so that's your call to action. I would also say, please continue to pray for a positive verdict. I've not heard anything yet. The 15-12, we're hoping we hear something from the Supreme Court. I know Wednesday is an order and an opinion day, and I'm thinking that maybe my judge is just waiting until that decision is dropped. But ultimately, I'm damn glad.
You have 1 minute.
I've got 1 minute left, and I just wanted to say thank you to everybody.
Remaining.
Thank you for letting me rant and rave for a little bit. But this is an issue that I've got some experience with. The men that are in here deserve our exercise, our recreation. We deserve to be outside, but we should not be put in needless harm. I love you guys. Thank you for everything you do. It's givesendgo.com/freedomj6. Check out Chatham Free Press on Rumble, ChathamFreePress at NotDomBox on Instagram. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.
God bless you, brother.
Well, there you go, go, folks. You got to call that. Call to action.
It's time to unite. They locked us down, destroyed your business, forced the mask on. plans to divide all of us. White, black, and brown, it's time to unite. White power. White, black, and brown, just keep up the fight. Black power. White, black, and brown, we all alike.
Makes me mad too, Diane.
Together we Americans. United we Americans. The media steady lying on Donald Trump. And Trump actually did all the things he's accused of doing. He can run as a liberal, as a Democrat. Trump Latino. Blacks for Trump. Blacks for Trump.
We're released, I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you.
So here's a bunch of numbers you can all call there. U.S. Marshal, D.C. Gulag. We've been putting up the City Council number. Get on that Speaker Johnson. Tell him to get off his butt and get these guys out of here.
I was sure by now
Hi, Julie.
that you would have reached down and wiped our tears away, stepped in and saved the day. But once again, I say amen, and it's still raining as the thunder